Of course, I can share my camera settings throughout a wedding day with you. I'm gonna preface this by saying that it doesn't really matter what other people use on their camera, like their settings throughout a wedding day, because like lighting is so different, situations are so different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the best thing that you can do for yourself is learn and understand like what your settings do, one, and then how to apply it throughout the day on your own, like what works best for you and what works best for the lighting, the focal length that you want, how much blur you want in the background, how sharp you want it as far as movement. But I'm not here to hate or gatekeep, so we'll still go through it. A lot of times for details, I'm always at like 2 to 4 on my f-stop. My ISO is all over the place for like whatever the scene requires, really. For groups, I like to be at f5.6 or f4. I shoot on a zoom lens, but I just did buy a prime 51.4, I think, Zeiss lens. And I'm gonna try that out to see. I like actually never shoot on primes, so we'll see how it goes and if I end up liking it more or less. The only really big tip I have throughout a wedding day is if you want to do like a fun artsy blur moment, it rarely looks good in like bright sunlight, in my opinion, personally, or like if it's direct sunlight, maybe a little bit backlit could be okay, but typically like in shade or darker situations, I think blur will look so much better in those. I've had a lot of second shooters come and try to do like a blurry, trendy kind of thing when it's super bright outside, and it just doesn't look the way I prefer my stuff to look. So something like this was like a cloudy day in LA, and the shutter speed's 1/10, and I usually go 1/10 to like 1/20 depending on like what I want. Maybe sometimes down to 1/6. Like this one a couple seconds before, 1/6. Or do you say it 1/6 of a second? Like whatever. For ceremonies, I'll have my aperture at f4 typically, so everything's kind of in focus, and a little bit crisper just in case. And then I'll have like my second shooter do something different and be at like a different focal length entirely too, different lens. So we just get a lot of versatility. I think I mentioned this potentially, but like details are going to be at f4 typically as well. And then I love my lenses. I have the 50 to 150 f2 and then the 28 to 70 f2. And I love f2. I love this like bokeh and this background. I think it looks really, really pretty. But those are some examples of my camera settings. Maybe this isn't what you meant by camera settings, but this is like what came to my mind. Maybe you're talking about like autofocus and like how I set up my Sony camera, which if you guys want a video on how I shoot a day and like what buttons I've customized and like what autofocus settings I use, feel free to let me know and I can make a video on that.